Alright, I'm going to read this book, Don't Throw Away Tomorrow, Living God's Dream for Your Life, by Robert H. Schuller. It says, this book is dedicated to you. May God, who knows your name and your needs better than I, bless you as you turn these pages. May you find joy, courage, and confidence in all of your tomorrows. Okay, now I'm situated. Let's see. Out on the sunset, the beach, while I read. Let's see if I can keep that still. Chapter 1, Don't Throw Away Your Tomorrow. Tomorrow is your best friend. This is the first book I have written in the fourth quarter of my life, and I openly confess that I, the author, am preaching to myself. For my last book was my autobiography, published at the age of 75, the wrap-up year of the first 3 quarters of my life. I thought it was time to retire from writing. I assumed I would have nothing new to add to the 35 books written with this hand, but the truth is quite the opposite. 3 years into my fourth quarter, I'm experiencing insights that are remarkably distinctive. Yes, different from anything I've consciously encountered in my entire life. Perspective, that's the key word to explain how living in the fourth quarter of life unveils insights never before experienced. In the younger years, for the first 3 quarters of my life, I was driven by dreams. At the age of 5, I had the dream to become a minister. That dream took 20 years of serious education, high school, college, graduate school, and theology, 20 years. Then I had the dream of building a church that would impact the world with positive, healing faith. So, with $500, my wife and I came to California, a super secular state, bringing a spiritual message of hope. Now, a half a century later, we look at our work of over 5 decades and are shocked at what we honestly and humbly see. We are stunned at the sight, buildings and grounds that today stand in the Garden of Peace, a spiritual home base for televised church service seen by tens of millions around the globe and heard every week in great languages of the world: English, Dutch, German, Russian, Arabic, Chinese, and still expanding. How did this all happen? From nothing, something was born. How do we explain it? In simple terms, as I understand the process. I have always lived in the future. Call it vision. For the past 75 years, I have been dreaming my dreams of tomorrow. Did I miss out on living in the now? Did I miss out on the joy of living in the present? I don't know. I was always living in tomorrow. Today, this is the time to dream dreams and plan tomorrow. Tomorrow, that's when I do what I can and should do without procrastination. Tomorrow, I move from positive attitude to a new era of positive action. My notes to myself carry these acronyms: DIN, do it now, and MIH, make it happen. Of course, from time to time, celebrations called me out of my mental living in tomorrow, back to the now moment. Today, a wedding, an anniversary, a birth of a child, a plane to catch, a speech to give, a building to dedicate. Today, but today is only 24 hours. Tomorrow, in my thinking, tomorrow seems to go on forever. Tomorrow, that is where my goals live, begging me to reach out to them. Tomorrow, that is where judgment waits to announce the winner, and I don't want to be the loser. I see it as the time between the dreaming and the arriving, and it might be 20 years, 40 years, 100 years. Life for me has been made up of little of today and a lot of tomorrow. And yesterday, for most of the past 50 years, I kept these words of Jesus under the glass top of my desk. No man, having put his hand to the plow and looking back, is fit for the kingdom of God. Luke 9:62. It's past, it's history. Tomorrow is my future. But today I'm going to celebrate. I find myself stopped for a moment. I can't help looking back. I'm going to celebrate the 50th anniversary of dreaming and creating a ministry. Today I'm forced to stop living in tomorrow and take time to look back and say thank you to God and to my friends to whom, from today's perspective, I see I am so indebted. Oh my gosh, I gasp, but the past is awesome. Have I been lucky? No, I've been blessed. I look back over 50 years of work. What do I see? What do I feel? Something I have never seen or felt before in my lifetime. Call it perspective. In this illuminating light of the reality of perspective, I am living in the now as never before. It is time to celebrate anniversaries. Today we celebrate the 50th anniversary of a church that grew from a small audience in a drive-in theater to an audience of tens of millions. Now they look not through windshields of cars, but at television screens. They are sitting not on automobile seats, but on sofas and beds, and they adjust the volume not to little speakers, but on a remote control. What now do I see looking back? What inner voices do I hear on this mountain peak? I see the long path behind me, and I see what I've experienced, achieved through stress. Stress? Yes, always. Every day, yes. But from this perspective, I see it as the stress of success. Positive stress. Work, dream, hold on, never give up. Keep on believing. Set goals beyond goals. Think bigger, think longer. Practice positive faith and be prepared to live in a world of creative, constructive, redemptive stress. I've lived in the world called stress all my life. I had to. It was my calling. And if I retired now, what would life be like? Stress-free? So-called stress-free living would produce new stresses I've never experienced before, like the stress of boredom. I would miss the importance, telephone calls, the very important letters demanding my insight and my legal autograph. Would my name be dropped from the VIP list to be invited to parties, boards, or meetings? Perspective. Now, I hear a voice. Welcome positive stress. Avoid all stress, and you will be on the new page called death. Welcome success, stress. Stay on the path called life. The inner voice is loud and clear. Don't throw away tomorrow. Who throws away their inner tomorrows? Who throws away their tomorrows? Every person. The child, the adolescent, the teenager, the young married couple, the middle-aged, the senior adult, the aged and retired, the winners, the losers, the healthy, the sick, and the suffering. When do people throw away their tomorrows? When opportunities are passed, when invitations to growth possibilities are rejected, when our plans are already made. What do we let great possibilities in our tomorrows fade quietly away? Why do we let great possibilities in our tomorrows fade quietly away? To answer that question, let me begin by sharing with you where I'm coming from. Living in this Jubilee year, I see that all of my impossible dreams are today a beautiful reality. My mind races back to the year I accepted the call from Norman Vincent Peale Domination to build a West Coast version of Peale's New York Collegiate Church, dated 1628 and started by Dutch Reformed colonists on the island they bought from Native Americans and named New Amsterdam. That church was already 148 years old in 1776, the birthday of America. Today, the New York Church remains the oldest meeting place of Protestant denomination with the longest continuous ministry in the United States. This prestigious denomination issued a call to me to go to California and build a church in a new suburb springing up in the acres of orange groves. The date was January 1955, so I came with a calling to start a church from scratch, with 2 members, my wife and me, $500 cash to open the new church bank account, and most important, commitment to spend my whole life building one church that could impact the world. During these 50 years, I had to purchase land in 5 separate parcels to accommodate the growing church. It expanded to 40 acres, which are now all used in ministry by the church. It was the stress of success, as I was called to be not only the pastor, but also the builder, the planner, the organizer, the developer, the financier, and yes, even the architect, much of which I had not trained for in seminary or college. In my journey, my autobiography, I told how much of this happened. The first 10 acres cost $6,000 an acre, while Disney was building Disneyland a mile away. So the second 10 acres a few years later cost $100,000 an acre. The third 10 acres some years later would cost us nearly $100,000 an acre. $1 million an acre. The last 10 acres with 40 private houses would cost us well over $1 million an acre. That last house alone would cost us $1 million. Then we moved the houses and removed streets power, and telephone poles to complete the 40-acre church gardens on which today stand four magnificent architectural facilities, world-renowned in their design, done by gold medal architects Richard Neutra, Philip Johnson, and Richard Meyer. What an honor to see the Crystal Cathedral included in the 2004 publication Great Buildings of the World by the editors of Time. It is truly humbling to be recognized for our commitment to excellence. To read that the Crystal Cathedral is listed as one of the world's most influential, inspiring, and astonishing structures, and it is used every day for ministries of hope, encouragement, and faith. During the first 50 years, I went to bed every night thinking about tomorrow. At each great event dedicating these new expanded ministries over 5 decades, my mind wasn't really in the present. Even when our television ministry celebrated its 1,000th program, all 5 living United States presidents appeared on the telecast. I only briefly enjoyed the now because I was already mentally working to meet tomorrow's demands. Today, with a lifetime of work virtually finished, for the first time I feel free to stop, look around, and yes, look back. Now I can see my life has never been in yesterday and never in today, but always in tomorrow. I was able to dream impossible dreams because I had a 40-year plan, and when those 40 years were up, I was 68. Past retirement according to our national standards, but my master plan was unfinished, so I had to keep my eye on tomorrow for another 10 years. Had I retired at that time, I would have thrown away 10 years of tomorrows. That's 3,650 tomorrows, not counting leap years. Today, as I write these lines, those 10 years have been lived, and now that I am 78 years old, I have another 10-year plan. That's a future that makes life meaningful with my newest impossible dreams. Impossible dreams at 78? Yes, for I've lived to prove that anything is possible if we never give up and never quit making plans to keep on keeping on for tomorrow. Don't throw away tomorrow. Yes, live God's dream for your life. I pray I can help you as I have been helped by so many people this past half century. Some years ago, I was traveling with an associate, Mike Nation, who has been on staff for nearly 40 years. On the plane, we were studying our itinerary, about 3 pages detailing several events in upcoming cities. When I had finished reviewing a page of the itinerary that I thought summarized that day's events, I took the sheet of paper and crumpled it up and throw it away. Mike said, "That's tomorrow's page. Don't throw away tomorrow." Wow, a light went on. I discovered a universal principle. Don't throw away tomorrow. That's so easy to do. Crumple the paper, throw it away, move on to the next subject. We throw away tomorrow when ideas come and we are not ready for them, so we move on. I'll pass on this one, we say, not really knowing what doors to opportunity we're closing. We don't even give the idea serious attention. We throw away tomorrow when challenges come or when problems hit us. We throw away tomorrow when we get our priorities all mixed up and lose our vision. When you get overwhelmed, don't throw away tomorrow. Don't throw away your tomorrow. There's a wonderful Bible verse that holds a key for tomorrow. Sanctify yourself, which means get together with God and get your divine act together. Sanctify yourself, because tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. Joshua 3:5. Wow. Why do people throw away tomorrow? Well, in some cases it's fatigue. They're tired. They've had enough. When you walk around the Crystal Cathedral campus or visit one of the countries of the world where you see the Hour of Power television programs, you will see many of my dreams fulfilled. But behind those dreams, there were the shadows, the times of waiting, the times when I wondered how it could possibly all work out. So I held on to the Bible verse, "Be not weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not." Galatians 6:9. And from the book of Job, "When he has tried me, I shall come forth as gold." Job 23:10. It's tempting on an anniversary to look back. That's okay. That's appropriate, but don't get hung up and stay there and miss tomorrow. The truth is, at that time we must learn to look to tomorrow. That is where it will all happen. Others throw away tomorrow because of disappointments and rejections. They didn't get the raise they expected. Look at all the years they worked for a company who got the promotion they did not. Then there are broken promises that were made and never fulfilled. The low returns on your investments were not what you expected, and the rewards were they worth the risk? It is very normal and human to get disappointed. It's okay to become disappointed, but don't let disappointments take control of your head and your heart until you throw away your tomorrow. It is easy to succumb to negative thinking and negative people. Add up the rejections, the failures, the setbacks, and you just want to throw away tomorrow. But remember this fundamental principle of possibility thinking. Never make an irreversible negative decision in a down time. What really happens when you throw away tomorrow? You surrender leadership of your life's destiny to fate, to forces, to past failures, to frowning faces that spill out negative predictions. It won't work. You don't have what it takes. It's impossible. Then you lose confidence and belief in yourself is infected with the fatal pessimism. You give up and tomorrow throw in the wastebasket. The negative thinkers around you win. Why do people damage and destroy the possibility thinkers and the dreamers of great dreams? For lots of reasons. Jealousy, ignorance, cynicism, a basic attitude of obstructionism. Some people allow negative emotions to rule and reign in their lives. How can you keep on going? How can you keep on keeping on with your hopes and dreams in this negative emotional environment? 1. Reread the title of a certain book. Tough times never last, but tough people do. I wrote that book. I lived it. Millions of copies are out there. Never turn the management of your mood and your mind to obstructionist. 2. Now read every line on every page of this book. 3. Face your fears. Confront your challenges with a stubborn, positive attitude. There is quite a place in Hawaii where over 30 years I've gone to draw inspiration and write many of my books. I am there now as I write these lines. Every morning I go out and take my morning exercise, a long stroll walk along the beach. And always, just ahead of me, I see this elderly, gray-haired Japanese gentleman. He's obviously suffered a stroke. The right side of his body, arm, and leg is almost immobilized, but he can hold and use a cane in his right hand. His left hand swings forward and backward, up and down to keep his balance. I see him coming slowly toward me. We meet, we exchange smiles. What a spirit shines through his determined face. He just does not give up and surrender his future to the challenge of a wounded body. I do not speak his language, but he understands English, and his face and eyes and cheeks all become one big beautiful smile when I stop and simply say, "Keep it up, God is blessing you." This has gone on for the past 4 years. He would have been defeated and probably dead long ago, but he has never thrown away his tomorrow. Yes, there are many reasons why people throw away tomorrows. Some throw away tomorrow because of fear and of failure. They just are afraid of taking risks. You have often heard me say, if you're afraid of taking risks and you are not taking a risk, then you're not living this moment in the realm of faith. When you live by faith, you are running on the risk track. Because faith is what you need to move ahead when you can't be sure that it's going to work out the way you have hoped and planned. Are you tempted to throw away tomorrow because of fear of failure? Nothing causes more tomorrows to be thrown away than this fear. Then, of course, there is the frustration of politics, which can cause you to throw away tomorrow's dreams. Anytime you get an idea, you need people to help you put it together. That is the beginning of an institution. When you create an institution, levels of authority and boundaries need to be established. If everybody owns it, nobody owns it. If everybody is responsible for it, nobody will be responsible. So great institutions require the establishment of power positions, and then politics enters. Politics can be very positive and helpful because it keeps an infrastructure in place. But if politics finds you voting on the wrong side, you can throw away tomorrow because you find there is too much debate and ego involved. Why do people throw away tomorrow? For some, it's because they find fulfillment. They win a prize. Maybe they win the lottery. Now they've had enough. They don't want to work anymore. They lose their vision. It's tempting. I've had more honors than I deserve and more rewards than I expected. It can be tempting to just say, well, I'm going to retire. But what would I do then? Sit in a chair and watch TV? Don't let the fulfillment throw away your tomorrow. You've heard people say, I've been there, done that. Be careful of that sentence. It is a potentially explosive negative claim that can shoot a hole through many new dreams that God has for you. Yes, I still have dreams for the tomorrows that God gives me. You and I must see fulfillment as a broadening of the base of strength that will enable us to think in bigger dimensions than we have ever thought before.